Hi, I'm Ellie, and this is your weekly theatre news recap, the most chaotic way to learn about all of the past week's UK theatre news. This week, just casting galore. Just everyone said, hey, it's time to make Ellie read a bunch of names. We have casting for Mean Girls, for Juliet, for Romeo and Juliet starring Tom Holland. There's just so much casting news that we're going to jump straight into. But if you want to stay up to date with UK, West End, tour and theatre, make sure you hit subscribe and like this video because I do these every single week. I'm a little bit later this week because it was Easter and I wanted Easter for me. But yeah, let's dive into casting. There's just so much. I'm going to read less names than I normally do. Some of them are just going to be shoved into the description because when I say there's a lot, there's like 3 pages worth. Tell her like there's 4 pages worth of casting news this week. That's a lot of names to read. So let's start with the simplest one, which is just one cast member for The Devil Wears Prada. We got the announcement of who is going to be playing the iconic role of Nigel. This is the role that, if you have seen Devil Wears Prada, was originally played by Stanley Tucci. We love Stanley Tucci. And taking this role on stage is the iconic Matt Henry. Gorgeous casting. Matt Henry, you may know Matt Henry from Kinky Boots. They were one of the Lolas. I love this casting. He's going to be amazing. He's going to be so good in this role. I cannot wait. I like this kind of like drip feed casting that we're getting from Devil Wears Prada, especially because we got quite a while to wait for the show. It's quite nice to kind of be like, oh, okay, that's who's playing Meryl Streep's character. Oh, that's who's playing Stanley Tucci's character. I'm enjoying this. Matt Henry is a great shout. If the rest of the cast is as strong as this, I think we've got a great show on our hands. Next up, another show that's announced a single cast member. And as a Doctor Who fan, this is very exciting to me. Kiss Me Kate has announced that Peter Davison, yes, the 5th Doctor, has joined the cast of the upcoming revival of Kiss Me Kate. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, hold on, can he sing? And the thing is, Peter Davison has done musical theatre before. He played Professor Callahan in Legally Blonde when it came to the West End. So I'm quite excited to see what he does here. This is going to be at the Barbican from the 4th of June. I need to get my tickets ASAP. Next up, people, places and things. We're just going to bump through this. Last week it was announced that, well, I think like 2 weeks ago, but I did a combined thing last week because I was sick. Sometime in the past 2 weeks, it was announced that People, Places and Things is getting a 10-year anniversary revival. It was announced that Denise Goh is reprising her role, and now we know the rest of the cast. They include, but are not limited to, Sinead Cusack as Doctor/Therapist/Mum, Malachi Kirby as Mark, Danny Carane as Foster, Holly Atkins as Charlotte, Paxi Vernon as Jodie, Ryan Hutton as Sean, and more company members who will be in the description down below. Cool play. I said last time that I spoke about this literally in the last video that I really enjoyed Duncan Macmillan's writing, and I'm quite excited to see the show. I've only ever been able to read it. I've only read this play, and it was so long ago that I don't remember much about it, so I need to go and see it, obviously. Next up, Juliet UK Tour. We had the announcement of the first few cast members for this show. I don't have them written down, but let me try and remember. It's Laura Denning is Anne Hathaway. Sandra Marvin is the nurse, and Angelique. And Geraldine Sack-Dillon is Juliet. I can't believe I remembered all of those, but I did. I'm very proud of myself. But now we have the full rest of the cast, which is very exciting. First off, we have Matt Cardle as Shakespeare. This isn't a massive stunt cast because Matt Cardle is no stranger to musical theatre, but it is interesting how I was correct that Shakespeare is the role that they've gone for a slightly bigger name with, while the rest of them are fairly like newcomer roles, or like people who are more known within the musical theatre space. Jack Danson is playing Romeo, Carl Cox is Francois, Jordan Broach is May, Michael Nelson is Henry, Liam Morris is Richard, and we have our ensemble who will be in the description down below. Great casting. All great casting. Jordan Broach is so good. and I've been waiting for them to have a breakout role, and I'm ready. Carl Cox is fantastic. Matt Cardle I'm really excited for. This is a great cast. This is a fantastic cast. This is an underrated cast, and I am very excited to go and see this. Next up, Birdsong, another show that's only announced one cast member, which makes this very easy. Matt Bowden is going to be starring as Jack Firebrace in this new production. Next up, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I said there's so much casting. We're not even at Mean Girls yet. We have the rest of the casting for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. There's a couple of cast members they haven't announced, but they kind of done like a big chunk of them, where before they were kind of like sprinkling the cast members. We have Ellie Nunn as Truly Scrumptious, Martin Callahan as Baron/Sid, Jenny Gaynor as the Baroness/Violet, Adam Safford as Boris, Michael Joseph as Goran, and John McCulley as the Toymaker. In addition to this, we have our first child catcher, where they have done a little bit of a gender switch on the role, as Elaine C. Smith will be playing the role of the child catcher in Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Glasgow, and Inverness. So that's very, very Scotland-based. She's not venturing outside Scotland. Also for today, we're the ensemble, who will be where, you guessed it, the description down below. Very cool, very exciting. Next up, the casting that everyone has been waiting for. The most fetch casting in town, Mean Girls. Mean Girls has announced their full cast. We've been waiting for ages for this. We've kind of known that they've had this cast for a while and just been sitting on it. And finally, last Wednesday, they announced it. We have Charlie Byrne as Katie, Georgina Castle as Regina, Elena Gacy as Gretchen, Grace Mowat as Karen, Elena Skye as Janice, Tom Zander as Damien, Daniel Bravo as Aaron Samuels, Luca Chadwick Patel as Kevin, Aiko Mitchell as Mr. Duval, and Zoe Rainey as Miss Norbury, Miss George, and Miss Heron. They are joined by a plentiful ensemble, including a one name that I want to pull out here is Bailey Carson, icon legend at the moment. They are understudy Janice, which, look, I'm not a self-proclaimed Mean Girls musical fan, but even I get excited for the idea of Bailey Carson doing Janice. That sounds amazing. But the rest of their names, including Bailey Carson, because I'll just kind of copy and paste it, will be where? Where could they be? Where are they? Where art thou names? That's very topical, knowing a future casting that's on this list. Where art thou names? They're down in the description. Next up, there's still like 5. There's still like 5 shows that have announced casting. There's just so much. There's so much. Starlight Express, big revival, huge. It's coming. It's trucking along. It's skating here. It's coming in like June, I think. And we have our cast. We have Jeevan Breach as Rusty, Kana Monticello as Pearl. That's a great name. And I hope I didn't butcher the pronunciation, because that is a great name. Jade Marvin as Mama McCoy, Al Knott as Greaseball, Eve Humphrey as Dina, and Tom Pigram as Electra. We also have our ensemble, who are way down description town, way down under the ground. Next up, Fangirls. Fangirls is going to the Lyric Hammersmith. It's a transfer. It's an Australian musical. And we have our cast, which I've got to say, so much trans casting here, I'm very pleased about. Not only that, we have disabled cast members. There's really lovely variety in this casting. It's really, really good to see. Thank you, Fangirls. I did not have it on my 2024 bingo card that you would be the trans show of the season, but look at you now. We have Jasmine Elcock, who's going to be playing Edna, Miracle Chance, who's going to be playing Brianna, Mary Malone, who's going to be playing Jules, Gracie McGonigal as Lily, Terry Jacket as Salty, and our ensemble, including some really cool trans names, who will be where? Down in the description below. really cool. This was not a show that I massively had on my radar, but looking at this cast, I guess I've got to put it back on. I mean, not only is there great trans representation here, but there's also like Gracie, who was in Little Big Things and was fantastic in that show. Miracle Chance has done so many great things. Like, this is a fantastic cast. Even names that I haven't listed are really cool as well. Like, oh my god, I've got to go see this one. Wow. Next up, we have Shakespeare, but this video is so long. I'm just gonna have to put like just this entire casting announcement in the description. There's so much casting. I want to be on to the other news. This video is already long enough. So Regent's Park Open Air Theatre has announced their full casting for Twelfth Night, which opens this year's summer season. It opens from the 3rd of May to the 8th of June. The full casting for this one is going to be in the description down below. And finally, in casting news this week, we have Romeo and Juliet. Jamie Lloyd's anticipated new version of Romeo and Juliet, starring Tom Holland, has announced the rest of the cast. And honestly, there are names in here that make me more excited than hearing Tom Holland's name. They are Francesca Amawuda-Rivers as Juliet, a newcomer, as a lot of us anticipated. This is the one that I'm really excited for. Freema Agyeman as the nurse. That's Martha Jones. That is Martha Jones, one of the best Doctor Who companions we have ever had. Underrated Doctor Who companion, I will say with my full chest. I'm ready. We have Michael Bulligan as Friar, Tomiwa Eden as Capulet, Mia Jerome as Montague, Daniel Quintoy as Paris, Racy Shea as Tybalt, Nima Talagani as Benvolio, Joshua Alexander Williams as Mercutio, Callum Heinrich, and Cody Mortimer as camera operators complete this cast. And that's very interesting because that is our confirmation that this will be very similar to some of Jamie Lloyd's other works, being and concluding a lot of filming. The last one we saw was Sunset Boulevard, which I think is probably the most filming he's had in any of his shows, but that could be a contested statement. Romeo and Juliet opens at the Duke of York's Theatre from Thursday, the 23rd of May, with previews from Saturday, the 11th of May, and runs until Saturday, the 3rd of August. Now, I'm pretty sure tickets for this show are sold out, but they have held 5,000 tickets available at £25 if you are under 30, a key worker, or receiving government benefits. And they will be across the run on every level of the auditorium. And they have announced that these tickets will be going on sale on Wednesday, the 10th of April at 10 a.m. I will be in that queue trying to get tickets. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. But if you want a chance to go and see this and get the under 30s tickets, this is your best chance to get a good deal, a cheaper ticket for this production. Okay, there we go. I would like to say that I am done with casting news, but we've got concerts now, and there is casting here. Additional casting has been announced for Cool Rider, the 10th anniversary concert happening at the London Palladium. We know some of the cast members. The ones that have been announced today are Tom Senior as Johnny, Hannah Levane as Paulette, Jacob Fowler as Lewis, Courtney Bowman as Sharon, Kyle Cox as Goose. I love saying the word Goose. Goose is such a fun word to say. I've said so many names, I'm losing my mind. Harry Francis as Davy, and Lucinda Lawrence as Rhonda. The ensemble will be in the description down below. And that should hopefully be it for casting news this week. That is everything. I've said it all. I hope you're happy. Let's move on to our miscellaneous news, where we have 2 cast albums that have been announced. The first one is Sunset Boulevard. To coincide with the Broadway run, a live cast album recorded at the Savoy Theatre during the West End run will be released globally in October. It's quite a while to wait, but it's very exciting that we are getting a Sunset Boulevard cast recording, especially with this production being so different. And the other one that's been announced, we don't have a time frame for this yet, but they have announced that it's happening, is Just for One Day. This makes a lot of sense because they have kind of soft announced that they are getting a West End transfer. They've got no theatre. They haven't done like an official announcement, but when they did a performance on not Children in Need, the other one, Red Nose Day, Comic Relief. That's the word. When they did a performance on Comic Relief, it was kind of announced that they are getting a West End transfer. So we'll be seeing Just for One Day again very soon. And now we can talk about our transfers and new productions. First off, Hamlet. The iconic trans icon Eddie Izzard is going to be bringing her solo performance of Shakespeare's Hamlet to London. This show is currently at New York's Orpheum Theatre and is going to be playing a limited 6-week run at the Riverside Studios from the 23rd of May to the 30th of June. This is Izzard's second solo show, following on from her solo Great Expectations last year, which ran at the Garrick Theatre in the West End. This will see her take on 23 characters and a unique retelling of the iconic play. Very exciting. I need to get my tickets. Next up, we are getting another version of Rocky Horror. I'm pretty sure this is just the same tour that they've kept ongoing. However, what's very interesting about this is that it will be opening the season of Fareham Live, a new venue operated by Trafalgar Theatres. This 800-seat venue, currently under construction, will launch in September 2024, and Rocky Horror will be going there from October the 1st to the 5th. Very exciting, but what's really exciting about this is that Jason Donovan will be starring in the show. So if you want to catch Jason Donovan, you got to go to Fareham Live. And finally, in theatre news this week, we've made it to the end. Boys from the Black Stuff will be getting a West End transfer. Now, what's very interesting is that I don't even think this is played at the National Theatre yet, but it is. This is going to be at the National Theatre from the 22nd of May to the 8th of June. And then from the 13th of June, it's going to be playing in the West End. It's got like a back-to-back season in London, which is very interesting. Now, it has a very, very short season at the National Theatre. So it makes sense that it's kind of doing this back-to-back show. But this is really interesting. This is a transfer from Liverpool's Royal Court. It premiered there last autumn, and it's going to be returning there before its national and its West End run from the 19th of April to the 11th of May. So if you're up north, don't worry, you don't have to travel down. You can go see it in Liverpool. This is really interesting. We have some initial casting. I've read too many names this video. They will be in the description down below. But yes, you know me. I love a James Graham play. James Graham's writing is just phenomenal. Every single show that I've seen him do is a 5-star masterpiece. So you know I will be sat in one of those theatres, probably the West End one, maybe the National, because they have cheap deals for under 25s, and I can get those. So that is all of your theatre news this week. What are you most excited for? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me out, helps out the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on screen right now, and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!